What's up, everybody? It's that time of the day, that time of the week, that time of the month.
Once again,
that time of the month. We have got a great show for you. I am Big Papa.
I'm Jeff.
You're listening to the good,
the band,
and the ugly. I am way over-modulating myself. I love myself that much.
Yes.
That's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
So, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Got a little fist pound there?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. So, good week for you?
Yeah. You?
Yeah, great week. Went out to, saw a couple bands this week.
Nice.
Went out and saw, Thursday, I saw Dangerous Type out at Sharky's. That was pretty awesome. Andy Comstock and the boys were tearing it up. We've got 2 alumni in the band. We'll soon to have 3. So that'll be awesome.
Yep.
Saturday went and saw John Seeley play at Sharky's again.
Cool.
With the infamous Artemis Pyle showing up from the legendary Leonard Skinner. Wouldn't get off stage.
Weird.
Just stayed right up there. 3 songs. Wouldn't leave.
It's
pretty cool.
Great.
I got a picture with him. Got a picture with him choking out Daryl.
Saw that.
That was awesome with the shirt.
Yeah.
So that was a good publicity stunt. Yeah. Sunday we had the
33rd annual Elks
Lodge Music Fest with the money going to
Access
CNY. Yeah. Saw Ditch Daisies and Rhythm Method.
Yep.
Definitely 2 awesome bands.
Yeah.
So shout out to them.
Yeah.
And I got a question for you before we bring our guest on.
What's up?
If someone's playing at 11 o'clock in the morning and the only thing you can remember about the performance was, hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Yeah.
Let's hear you make some noise. Is a boo a noise?
It is.
I
mean, it's a noise.
It's just me being a dick.
Yeah.
You know that. So, anyways, hey, we have a great show today. I'm going to call him Syracuse legend. I don't care.
For sure.
He's not going to agree with us, but
I know.
Lou Kaplan, singer, songwriter, guitarist, bass player. He's been traveling around from town to town playing original music for 45 years.
Yeah, dude.
Since I was born. And then some. Shut up. Songs have always been a little gritty and uncompromisingly honest, as he puts it, and with an emphasis on authenticity rather than commerciality. And that means more to me than anything.
Absolutely.
Lou and I talked about that the other day. So
cool. Without
even hesitating, we have to bring him on the phone. His camera was, his camera was just a little, what's the word That sound actually goes out to Ryan Coughlin. Is his new sound.
His new sound.
Yep.
Okay.
So, without further ado, Lou Kaplan is on the phone, and Lou, great to have you on board.
Great to be here. How you guys doing?
Good, man.
We're doing a lot better than your video camera. I'll tell you that much.
Well, that's a low bar.
You know, for a guy who plays electric guitar, probably using electric pedals, playing through an electric amp.
Yeah.
There's clearly not a computer on stage for you, is there?
No.
You'd think by what we saw he was Amish.
I almost thought are you riding a bike to fire up this phone right now? Where's the other end of this tin can right now? I didn't know we had a string that long.
Nope.
Brother, it is so good to have you on here.
For sure.
I mean, your music history in Syracuse is just it's legendary.
Yeah.
We say legendary.
We do.
You've played with some of the greats around. You've entertained people for years with umpteen number of albums. Savoy Brown.
Yep.
Lonesome Crow.
Mad Jack.
6 albums with Mad Jack or something like that. I mean, it's just
5. Yeah.
5. I mean, it's just some great stuff. And Lou, you and I had talked. I mean, when I had the bar, you guys played out there. Lonesome Crows just did great. You played out there with Train. Was it called Train?
I played your bar with two different bands, actually. Last Train Out, which was like a blues rock power trio thing.
Last Train Out.
And I was in Lonesome Crow for a couple of years. So I came up there and played some country for you as well.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. It was, I'll tell you, I loved when you were out. In fact, see, he can't see me right now.
No, he cannot.
It just throws it all off. I got the leather hat out of the woodwork because I was like, in honor of Lou being on the show, I'm going to wear the leather cowboy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm not going to.
No, you're not going to do it.
I'm not going to ruin the surprise.
No.
For everybody.
Right.
I just used my outside voice again, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, well.
It's all good.
So, Lou, again, thank you for being on the show. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I know that Jeff is a huge Southern rock fan.
Yep.
Oh, great.
I mean, just,
Yeah. It's
out of the two of us, the guy meeting Artemis Pyle the other day shouldn't have been me.
You're right.
I mean, I love Skinner only because I grew up listening, but then I kind of stopped at a certain age. Jeff just kept going.
I kept going.
Yeah. Well, his love of Skinner was his love of as long as his hair was in the back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fantastic band. Artemis Pyle, one of the sweetest, kindest celebrities that I've ever met.
Apparently, till he gets drunk.
No, he's sweet when he's drunk too.
Is he? Okay.
Okay.
He and I split a bottle of Jack Daniels in 1989.
Oh, that's cool.
See?
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Once again, something we've never
I know
been able to do anything cool like that.
No, and looking at the resume a little bit, with who Lou, with who you played with, it's like the Outlaws, Marshall Tucker Band, Blackfoot, Molly
Southern
Hatchet.
Gentlemen, all they treated us so well. All those bands.
That's cool. So when you started playing, usually musicians, we don't like to get into the typical questions, but
no,
I think we want to ask a little bit, like,
yeah,
where'd what got you into it? Did you just start listening to music and say, I want to do that? Did you have a family member that was a musician that kind of pushed you that way, or
were you one of the ones that saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan?
Well, I wasn't old enough to remember the Beatles on Ed Sullivan.
Oh, good.
But I am a Beatles freak.
Yeah.
Oh, are you?
Oh, yeah.
Lou, I wouldn't have assumed that you saw that. Jeff's just a bit
Biggest
of
Beatles fan in the world.
he's a bit
I think what happened to me, seriously, when I was 11 years old, I heard Superstition by Stevie Wonder on the radio,
Oh, cool.
and it just knocked me down.
right.
I was like, not only am I going to buy this song, I'm buying this album because this is like the coolest thing I've ever heard. And, then I started buying Elton John albums and, Bill Withers and, then my buddies and I got up a kind of a garage band thing. And then, here comes Zeppelin and Purple and Alice Cooper and Bad Company and all those 70s kinds of bands. And we'd go back and play, Beatles and Stones and Hendrix and Creedence and, a lot of 60s stuff too. And playing high school dances,
Okay.
But the other thing that happened to me very early on is I said, I got to learn. I was the bass player in the early bands. I said, I got to be able to play guitar too, because I want to write.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that comes from. I just felt compelled to figure out how to write original music. And as I went, the bands kept leaning more and more heavily towards the original.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
I just felt like I wanted to create something uniquely my own,
Yeah.
Did you find that music has evolved? Like, I shouldn't say music, but entertainment has evolved from doing covers, emulating your favorite rock stars that had done, like you said, the Zeppelins, Cream, Deep Purple,
Bad
Black
Company
Company,
and all
Bad
that,
Company.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden writing your own, and we saw local musicians and entertainment start going down the path of all original music. And then now it's all back to covering, doing cover band stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess, have you seen that evolution through what you've been doing, and have you tried to follow through that, or just said, you know what, I'd rather play my stuff, maybe pepper in one or two
Covers.
cover tunes, but or have you just stuck true to your
Well, I understand it. I think as these songs get older, I mean, a lot of these classic rock songs are 50 years old and older,
Right.
Yeah.
And the audience for those songs and those bands, we're older. And I get the same nostalgic feeling from hearing that music as everybody else. I love those bands and I love those songs. But, I personally don't want to be defined by nostalgia.
Right.
So, I mean, the last time I made a concerted effort to play live shows, I played mostly my own stuff, sprinkled in some Allman Brothers and some Neil Young and some Jackson Browne and some
very cool.
Steve Earle,
Yep.
So, I did a few, but, I've got quite a backlog of my own songs now that I want to be playing. So, I've got to follow my muse. Other people got to follow their muse. It's all good.
Mm-hmm.
No one way is more valid than the other. I just think, what you should do what's in your heart.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you want to play cover songs and get a lot of gigs and make the most money that you can, and you love those old songs and those old bands, that's fine.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, I mean, you're still playing live, you're still recording new stuff. And any of the stuff that I've heard, it seems relevant to the times without putting a date on it. So, you're staying true to your art and still giving us a little bit of a modern twist on it versus a lot of country, a lot of Southern rock is going really heavy right now.
Yep.
And instead of it being like country rock, it's almost like country metal.
In a way, yeah.
You know, it's or southern country metal. It's which I love music, period. Some of the stuff that I grew up on. My first owning anything was an 8-track of Cream, Crossroads, and
nice.
And getting into I was a drummer for years, and man, Ginger Baker just blew me away, and then from there I'm listening to John Bonham, I'm like, holy shit, another like iconic kind of drummer, and then listening to Buddy Rich and stuff like that, just got me listening to all different types of music, and it made me appreciate an artist for what he is and not.
Yeah.
And the only music that ever turned me off, I think, was not R&B, but some of the rap.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big blues fan. I like Lionel Richie. I like Ray Charles. I like all those guys. Mm-hmm. And then the rap came out, and then it just got muddy. So I can't. People say, "Well, what do you listen to?" I say everything but rap.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm trying to think of a diplomatic comment here. The bands that I like, they've all got a personality that comes from, the Gestalt. There's all the players have a unique way of playing. They're all stylists. They're all idiosyncratic. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's where the magic comes from.
Right.
And I think the rap thing, it's valid if it's telling the truth about somebody's circumstances and reality.
Okay.
But sampling things and having the drum machine and you know what I mean? It's not the same as 4 guys throwing it down in a room.
Correct.
Right.
To me.
No, Lou, I agree with you 100%.
I do too, because Lou, but if we think about, go back as far as we can think, when music was one guy walking through the, as the town player, and he was the storyteller. The musician was the storyteller, walking through towns, telling tales of what happened in the other cities. So if he was to look ahead and see, these guys don't have to scream as loud as they can when they sing. They sing through microphones and play on electric instruments.
Yes.
Maybe they look at us the same way, I guess, and maybe I shouldn't be so quick to judge sampling and whatnot, because they can be true artists as well. Yeah. I just sometimes, I guess, maybe the anger or the extreme politicalism of the words. And I'm contradicting myself because the music of the 60s and early 70s was laden with politics, you know. So I guess it's maybe we're just showing our age when we say we don't like a certain thing or way it's done, but to me it's not.
I mean, there's another way of looking at it. Like maybe that art form is a little more avant-garde and we're more traditional in our taste, you know?
Right.
Like I don't like a lot of the Beatles would be an exception, but a lot of the music I like is not very produced.
Right.
Okay. Right.
Sounds like a live band, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's my taste. You know, I like to hear the fingers squeaking on the guitar and the little imperfections and people talking in the background. And, you know, like some of those old Bob Dylan albums and old Neil Young albums. I mean, that to me is so atmospheric and magical and cool. And just, you know, I just find it really attractive because it's so human, you know?
Yes.
Some of the live recordings with
or even
B.B. King and
like
those
Chicago
guys.
Blues.
Yeah.
It's like totally live, one take, and then everybody goes out and gets drunk. You know what I mean? It's over. It's just a snapshot. They captured a moment in time, and that's it, warts and all. And I dig that. Yeah, and I think that's what's missing from a lot of the stuff that, you know, the radio kind of formats now. You know, everything's auto-tuned. Everything is time corrected.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to release this album until every note is perfect.
Right. Click, play into a click
sterile,
track
you
and
know?
all that. Yeah, it is very sterile.
Yeah.
And like you said, the days of the live recording at a honky tonk somewhere, with imperfections and voice squeaks and whatever came up that way, and hearing a little bit of the background laughing to a joke between sets or between songs. I mean, that, like you said, it's organic, it's human, and it's real. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think, you know, I love rock and roll. I love blues. Where country's concerned, I'm more of an outlaw country guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think all those genres benefited from a certain organic, off the cuff kind of feeling.
True.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I think in years past, the bands were very idiosyncratic, very different from each other. Instead of now, you know, a record company, you know, they get one successful band and then they want 10 other bands that sound exactly like that band.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, and it's like, well, you know, I think back to a time where you had, you know, Creedence and the Allman Brothers and Santana and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Those bands have nothing to do with each other.
No,
they don't sound
you're right.
anything like each other, but they all coexisted in that same time frame, you know.
Yep. Well, then, you know, I noticed that you played Woodstock in 89?
Yep, it was the 20-year anniversary of Woodstock.
And I mean, talking about bringing together a whole crock pot full of different kinds of musicians and music and everything. Trying to emulate the first Woodstock, which was just, you know, just a whole regular mix, you know,
organized chaos.
Yeah, exactly.
But beautifully so, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lou, what was it like doing that in '89?
Well, to begin with, it was pouring rain, as it should be for Woodstock.
Right.
I think we had about 150,000 people there, so it wasn't the 500,000 strong of folklore. But I'll tell you something, 150,000 people, you can't see the end of.
Right.
And when you're playing, you're throwing the music out there and they're throwing the energy back at you, you know, and you're not used to that many people, it could just about blow you off your feet.
You know, just last week we had Ben Morrow on, and Ben was Lionel Richie's guitar player for 20 years. And he told us he played in England to a show that there was
I think it was Grass Pop.
Over 200,000 people in this. He said the same thing as far as the eye could see. And at one point during the show, he raised his hands and he clapped over his head to get the audience to do it. And he said it was that moment in life when he saw 200,000 people clapping over their head, and he just had them. They just did that because of him. He was like, holy shit.
Well, it's great fun.
You're right.
You know, everybody's there, and there's this big communal thing happening, and everybody's happy, and everybody's grooving, and it's loud and crazy, and you know, you never want it to end. It's just one of those gigs.
And then the second most memorable part of your whole career, had to be Pennoville, Big Papa's Riverside.
Right. Absolutely. I still have pictures of us playing in there.
Yeah, well, send them to me because I don't, and I would love to have them. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Everything I had, I used to store all the photos back then. There wasn't the cloud as well as there is now. So I would take pictures and I would keep all the photo cards from the camera, in my safe in my office from all the, and I had a lot of bands, and that burned down. So I don't have any pictures. Send some over. I'd love to put them up on on our page.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
That'd be very cool. So you've had some seriously surreal moments. I mean, what's one of the most? I mean, that's got to be right up there with the holy shit moments. But
yeah, that was a great night.
You know,
that was a great night.
First time you played a big show like that. I mean, I don't think that could have been the big first one.
No, the first concert we played was in Mad Jack, and we opened for Molly Hatchet at USA Sam's. I would think there would be 2,000 people in that place, which you couldn't move.
Right.
So that was 1984.
Okay.
Wow.
So I was 23.
All right.
Wow.
That was a year before we just talked to Ross Friedman, who was there in 1985.
Yep.
No, he was there in 1983. Actually, he was there in 1983. I take that back.
But
with Manowar.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
USA another place that had a lot of music. I saw
Absolutely.
John Fogerty there. I saw Eddie Money there. So that great place, and you're right. They could really pack people in that joint. So,
well, all the Southern rock bands did very well around here, and DMR back in those days would put Mad Jack on the bill. We'd open for just about all the Southern rock bands that passed through Syracuse area.
I'm sure you had
got to meet those guys and play some great shows, and get some of our fans from those shows.
Mm-hmm.
So 84.
Those were great days and crazy days.
So
it was a hard living band.
So when you opened for Molly Hatchet, they had to be Danny Joe Brown was still around.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And Dave Lubeck was very good to us.
That's great.
Yeah.
See, this is where you shine. You with all the names.
I do.
I'm just the funny guy. You got all the music, lyric history, and all that shit.
They were some big, mean-looking dudes, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But they were great to us. All of those Southern.
That's awesome. So I'm sure you played The Lost Horizon 1,000 times.
Yeah, played Lost Horizon with Marshall Tucker a couple of times.
We just put on our wall, right over Jeff's elbow. You can't see it right now because you're not there. But we just put on our wall Greg Italiano's photo because we wanted to immortalize the guy who brought so much music. To upstate New York. Gave the start to so many musicians at so many national bands.
Yeah.
That weren't even anything yet. Bands like Kid Rock and Twisted Sister and Blue Oyster Cult played there a couple times. John Entwistle, Molly Hatchet. To say the few. But so we have a picture on our wall. So if people are watching the show, right there, right over Jeff's elbow, right there.
Well, that's important to honor the past and the people that were, playing the music and bringing the music to people. And I mean, I take rock and roll pretty serious, maybe too serious.
Never too serious.
But to me, it's sacred. The old bands are sacred. The old songs are sacred. Everybody I ever played with, I hold sacred. And
I could
I
not
feel very
agree
fortunate
more.
to have experienced every minute of it.
Yeah, I could not agree more.
Out of all the people that you met and shared a stage or shared some whiskey with, who's one of them that just stuck right out that you were like, I can't believe this moment is happening right now,
Well, I spent, was it 2 or 3 days with Mick Taylor from the Rolling Stones.
Well, no,
Did you sleep, Lou?
A little bit. He was hanging with us. This is a Savoy Brown story. We were in Seattle, and Mick Taylor was on the bill, but he hung out with us, partied with us for a couple of days, and he was just a fantastic guy, humble and sweet, for a man of those immense talents. He was great. And then we got to jam with him and party with him again.
Right.
And then we were supposed to meet up again in Spokane, like a couple of days later.
Okay.
And Nick was supposed to meet us there and also, do another show with us. And the promoter said, "You'll never see him. It's not going to happen." And I thought, well, that's a crazy thing to say. He's been in the Stones. This guy's a pro. But the promoter was right. I never saw Nick Taylor again.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wonder why.
I know.
I don't know. I don't know.
You were a bad
But,
influence on him.
For the 2 or 3 days that he was hanging with us, he was fantastic.
Yeah.
And when he played, it was, sometimes you go see somebody play and they're just everything you want them to be,
Right.
Like you got a fantasy in your head what it would be like to watch this person and listen to them in a live situation, and they meet all your expectations or exceed them, and he's that talented.
When I saw Jackson Browne, it was kind of that way.
Okay.
Oh, great poet.
Yeah, I was just like, wow, this guy just blew me away.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I was just, and you could hear a pin drop at the War Memorial when he played there. People were that intent on listening to everything that came out of his mouth, whether it was just introducing and setting up the next song or anything. There was a point when he didn't even talk into the microphone. He was just speaking away from it, and you could still hear. And I'd never seen that at the War Memorial, where someone could just talk with their regular voice and people could still hear him in the back because it was that quiet,
His song "These Days."
Yes.
He wrote that when he was 17.
Oh, wow.
He hadn't even seen Days yet.
No.
So you're talking about a guy that had that kind of poetry in him at age 17.
Jeez. Lou, how did you get the Savoy Brown gig?
I was playing in a band down in Cortland, and we were going for a record deal, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And we had the same management as Savoy Brown. So when their then bass player, Jimmy Dagnese from Auburn, was leaving, we were the first to know about it.
Okay.
And our guitar player, knowing my taste in music, because this band that we were in really wasn't up my street, he said, "You should go audition for that gig. Because that's the blues boogie thing. You should go do that."
Yeah.
So I'd met Kim Simmons once before. Went to a rehearsal, audition and passed, and then I was the bass player in Savoy Brown for the next 2 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Lots of shows under your belt, I'm sure.
Say, yeah.
Oh my God. This is going to sound like an exaggeration, but we got in a van and we would drive 500 miles every day.
Wow.
We would go 12 hours in the van and then, sound check, eat, check in the motel, come back. And the shows were at midnight.
Oh, dear God.
So you play at midnight, do the show, meet and greet, back to the motel, try to drink yourself to sleep. And then you'd have to get up and drive 12 miles or 12 hours. Sorry.
Right.
So it was like exhausting. And I was in my 20s. It would really kick my ass now.
Well,
Yeah, it was a lot of work. but I loved that music. I loved that classic body of work, all those old Savoy Brown songs, and
Absolutely.
Kim is a magical player. God rest his soul.
Yes.
Right.
We just lost Kim, but man, he brought it every night. Every night. And for 2 years, I mean, he could just walk out there, pick up a Les Paul, and
just
move people.
Yeah.
It's that, and again, true poetry and music is something that just smacks you. If you're really, I mean, and I don't want to say if you're a musician, because you don't need to be a musician to have the same passion.
Correct.
I know so many people that would love to play an instrument that don't. But man, they could tell you every story about every music, and just they live and breathe music. My cousin Rick DiUlio from TK99, he could tell you music history trivia like crazy, but I don't think he plays an instrument to save anything, but he's just passionate about stuff like that. I mean, but when we look at who you've played with, when you say Mick Taylor, James Cotton, Eddie Money, I mean, there's another guy. I mean, we covered a couple of his songs just because we wanted to do something that people would hear and go, "Oh my God, I know that song," and then he passed away just as we were.
Actually, just as we were doing it.
Just as we started playing it, we're like, "Wow, that's weird. Better not play anybody else,"
Yeah.
And but
it's tough, We're losing a lot of people.
He seemed like a pretty cool dude himself.
Yeah, that was the unfortunate part, and like you just said, we're losing a lot of people. I mean, Gary Rosington,
Robbie Robertson,
yeah,
Randy Mosner a few days before that, Crosby, Jeff Beck.
Right.
It's scary.
Well,
this was the golden age of rock music for me. It's like 65 to 75. I mean, almost all the best stuff to me came out at that time. Not to say that there weren't things before and after, but there was just so much great stuff, so many great songs in that 10-year time frame.
There's a lot of a lot of people have their own pick of a genre, like yourself, or the era or years of, like you said, 65 to 75 or whatever, and a lot of people would say, well, mine's 81 to 89.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
But
if you were coming of age then, I would expect that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like we kick ourselves though, and sometimes when we're that age and we have the opportunity to go see or go listen to or buy an album from some of these folks, and we were so pig-headed around the music that we thought, we were tied to our music more than people are tied to a political party now. It was like, I'm a metalhead, but as I got older, I'm like, thank God I took the time out and saw people like B.B. King.
Yeah.
Going to see Prince when I did.
Right.
And now I'm like, my God, the guy was a mastermind.
Exactly.
On guitar, his writing, his producing,
everything.
Going to see Aerosmith.
I think the FM stations that I grew up with in the 70s, they played all genres.
Right.
Yeah.
And you got this broad palette. And now it's like, well, there's the metal station and the rap station and the country station and this and that.
Yeah.
Everything's so compartmentalized that if you pick a station, that's all you're going to hear is that one thing.
You're right, and that's why
it wasn't like that when I was young.
Right.
No, and that's why I haven't listened to the radio in probably 4 years.
But look how many heads turned when people would cross genres.
Right.
Shania Twain crossed from that innocent country girl to kind of an edgy rock look and brought the crossover stuff.
Yeah.
Because of Mutt. So, I guess we got to see the beginning of decompartmentalizing and crossover music that really got to maybe make people stop and think.
Yeah.
To me, it pushed me to explore more.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I think.
Well, it's always evolving. It's always changing. We don't know what's going to happen next.
No,
No, you're right.
And I think even though there's stuff that we may feel like, well, that's kind of formulaic,
right?
Like produced kind of thing. There's always somebody out there giving you the truth and being really brave about their writing and really letting you see themselves for who they are.
Yep.
And maybe seeing yourself in that.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's that is where it's at. Is I'm going to share this personal story with you, and if I can move you with that story, chances are it's because you felt the same way or experienced the same thing.
Let me grab my tissues. Hang on.
What a dick.
Oh, I thought he was going to tell us a story.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I understand what he's saying.
No, I do too. With
his music, if he can move you, fantastic.
Right. And if they took out of it the music itself, moved them, and they made them that, or if the lyrics, people stop and you could tell when somebody's getting the lyrics because they get that glossy look in their eye. I know I do, and I'm just like listening to hanging on every word.
Yep.
And almost feeling what came out of your head, you know. But some people don't listen to that.
No, they don't.
And I guess that's why sometimes I forget lyrics because they don't mean anything to me.
That could be. Who knows?
Like I'm up on stage singing a song and I'm like, I hate this song. I hate this song. I hate this song. And I never listened. I never really took the time to learn all the lyrics, just the basics. And then, so every version of that song was an original.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I try not to do songs I hate,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you do, you're not going to give it your all anyway.
No.
I think when you're a songwriter and you hear a song that you really, really love, you've got this part of yourself that says, I wish I'd written that.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
And you make a personal connection with that song, and that's probably the song that you're going to pick for a cover because it feels so right,
I can't.
And if that's the case, then I'm screwed.
Yeah, because you're an emotionless prick.
No, it's not that. It's like I grew up. I'm a little bit younger than you and Mike, I believe, and
gotta throw that in there, didn't you?
Yeah, and
Dick, your hair's going just as bald as mine
it is
asshole.
too. I noticed that yesterday, but
Chubby, it's like Chubby doesn't wrinkle, so I look young.
But no, I mean, I grew up in the '80s, and that was all I was listening to. And then my brothers, thank God I had two older brothers because they brought home the Molly Hatchets and the Allman Brothers, 38 Special, Skinnerd, and that was really what I took to.
Yeah, well, those are roots bands, I mean, rock and roll. If you take the long view, rock and roll is a hybrid of country music and blues.
Right.
So if I listen to a Rolling Stones album, I'm hearing rock and roll, but I'm hearing country and blues within that.
Exactly.
I can hear that,
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the 80s, it got away from that and it got kind of show busy.
Yes.
Like I moved to LA when I was 21. So this is 1982.
Okay.
And I was at the right place at the right time if I wanted to be, wearing spandex and being in a Motley Crue kind of a band.
Sure.
But it just wasn't me,
Mm-hmm.
Not nothing against them, but you got to follow your muse again.
Yeah, exactly. And the unfortunate part is I found
that's a problem with band situations. If people join bands that they didn't like the music in the first place, they just joined because they wanted to be in a band. I give that band about 6 months, and the cracks start to show because people are miserable. They want to be playing something else and they're stuck in this band.
Right.
So that's the whole trick of a band really is trying to find people that have a shared artistic vision. And there's enough agreement about what we love that we can move forward together and, everybody be a team player and get this thing.
Right. And I think in 2014, I think, is when I really enjoyed being in a band. I was in a band with Keith Ford.
Oh,
and
wow.
And we were doing country in Southern. Yeah, oh my God, and we were doing country in Southern rock, and that was, for me, no better high. Honestly.
Well, I was pretty busted up when we lost Keith. And about 5 days after he passed, I wrote a song about him.
I saw
as
it.
a tribute.
Yep. I felt the same way as you. But I saw the song you wrote, and I was waiting for tonight to tell you that I was moved by that as well.
Oh, thank you.
I really, really enjoyed it. It was right, you certainly got his personality in a song.
Well, Keith was a songwriter, so I thought, what better way to honor him than to write a song?
Right.
Well,
and his family dug it, which meant the world to me.
Yeah.
Well, not even 5 minutes, 3 minutes before the show, Jeff was telling me, he says, one thing that Lou did that just moved me beyond measure was the song that he wrote for Keith.
Yep.
Like 3 days after, it seemed like 3 days after he passed away, this song came out and just hit all the touched all the bases, pushed all the buttons.
Yep.
And and I know, I told Jeff, I said, I know we can't get into it too much because Jeff gets a little choked up here, but and even thinking about it right now, he looks like somebody stole his Oreos. But to be moved by that, the man was he was a character.
Was he
great
ever?
Singer, and took the longest breaks between sets a bar owner could ever love. Because I said, you know what? He's going to take a 40-minute break. But the difference between when Keith would do it, people wouldn't leave.
Right.
They'd all be sitting around
they
drinking with
him sing, and they were right.
And then, or they'd be out front smoking 37 cigarettes with him.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Well, the first time I heard him play and sing, he had a black cowboy hat on, and he pounded beers on stage, and he's smoking these cigarettes, and he's singing his ass off, and I just thought, this dude's like freaking Waylon Jennings,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because he was so badass, but he was so good at what he did.
Yes.
Lou, did you ever put that song up, Lou, on like Spotify or Apple Music or any of that?
Yeah, that's on my album from last year that's called Ride or Die.
Okay.
And the song is called The Deepest Shade of Blue.
Yep.
And that is available everywhere, yeah.
Whoop. Almost played it.
Yeah, careful.
Let's see here. I want to find it because I want to post a link to that song so people know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But
well, Keith, for the uninitiated, he was the singer for Lonesome Crow.
Yes.
Right. And
he was also in Crime Scene.
Right.
Was that the band that you were in with him?
No, I was in Dixie Dirt with him.
Okay. I didn't know if you want to give a shameless plug for yourself on that one.
Well, I just did.
That was a band that Jeff got kicked out of. No.
No, that was actually Ricky Jewett joined us for quite a few shows afterwards.
Great keyboard player.
Yes.
You guys could be brothers.
We could be.
No, I was talking about Lou.
Oh, okay.
And Ricky.
Oh, sorry.
With,
Yeah, well, because they have Rick and Mad Jack and Savoy Brown and Lonesome Crow.
Yep.
So we've got quite a history.
Yes. And every time I see him out, we talk Lonesome Crow, we talk about the bar, and another great musician that people should know more about.
Exactly.
So it looks like we're gonna have to get him up on the podcast here.
I don't see why you wouldn't.
So Lou, we're gonna ask you. Well, we always ask, and I told you we're gonna ask you this, but there's got to be. You know where I'm going with this because I already told. I warned you. I warned you that it was coming, but
This is the ugly part, right?
Yes, this is the ugly part.
This is
Yes,
the
sir.
ugly part.
Yeah.
I want to know the most embarrassing moment you've ever had, or a couple of them, in your career. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant on stage.
Well,
Well,
on
yeah,
stage,
on
yeah,
stage,
yeah.
for
There's
sure.
backstage embarrassing moments too.
Okay, well, you pick whichever
I'm
one
not
you
at a
want.
loss for
take
embarrassing
both.
moments. You want the on-stage one or the backstage one?
Let's start with the on stage.
We'll do on stage first.
The on-stage?
Yeah,
Okay.
we got plenty of
So
time.
I'm playing bass for Savoy Brown. We're in Seattle at the Paramount Theater, which is akin to the Landmark.
Okay.
Right?
So big place, And the bill is Savoy Brown with Mick Taylor
Right.
and Big Brother and the Holding Company with somebody standing in for Janis Joplin that sounded a lot like her. And we're the headline band. And the guy on our road crew that tuned all of Kim Simmons' guitars and all my basses
Okay.
had inadvertently recalibrated our tuner.
Oh no.
Yeah. So
Oh,
he tunes
no.
all Kim's guitars, he tunes all my basses, but we're not in 440. And Rick's playing Hammond organ.
Oh.
And so he's in 440. Right. So they do the big thing at the beginning, ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome Savoy Brown? And we come running out and we're playing the first song, and the guitar and the bass are tuned one way, and
Rick's
the
tuned another.
keyboard, the Hammond organ, is in 440,
Wow.
the correct tuning.
Right.
It sounded so freaking bad. And at first you're horrified, and because you expect it to sound great, and you think I'm playing the wrong notes, and you look at your hands and I'm playing it right. So, over the next few seconds, we figured out what must have happened, got through the song somehow, and it was a unmitigated disaster. Had to tune after the first song and get it right, and then get back into our show.
Right.
And the road guy was pretty unapologetic about it. I thought it was a pretty big deal, but he didn't.
Right.
was he
But
fired
in
soon
front of
after?
that many people at a fairly prestigious venue, that was a bad one.
Was he fired soon after?
Nah, we weren't real hard-assed about it, but
Oh, okay.
You should have been fired.
Yeah.
Should have been fired.
But that's what I
sure.
thought of as a most embarrassing moment on stage.
I could agree with that.
Completely out of tune, both me and Kim.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
That's worse than somebody having like a drop D pedal
Oh.
and playing the first half of the song and go, "What the?
Where are you?"
Yeah, and clicking that pedal back up and
Yep.
there it is.
Oh,
yeah, huh. So all right,
the
backstage. This one's
The
got to be even
backstage,
better.
okay. This is without a doubt my most embarrassing moment of my whole life, and I'm going to tell it on a podcast.
It's all right. Only 12 people
Like
listen.
an
You're
open
good.
book. Okay, so Mad Jack, the first time that we ever played with the Outlaws, and I find
Okay.
myself backstage with Huey Thomason.
great guitar player as
And
well.
I'm talking to Huey Thomason, and we're laughing and talking and hanging out. And he hands me a glass, and he gets himself a glass, and he picks up a bottle of Jack Daniels, and he fills these glasses. And I'm real young, I might be like 22, 23 years old, and I'm looking at him like he's 10 feet tall and bulletproof.
Right.
Right.
And I'm thinking, this guy is such a badass. He's going to chug this glass of Jack Daniels. I just know it. And if I don't, I'm going to look like a wimp.
Right.
This is how I'm thinking. I'm so starstruck, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So we do this big toast, and he takes a little sip like a normal human being would do. And I drink this glass of Jack Daniels like I'm John Belushi in Animal House. And he looks at me and goes, what the bleep are you doing? And I was, felt so embarrassed, and God. could hardly forgive myself to this day.
What'd
but
you say to him? I wanted to be cool.
I wanted to be cool, and that's what happens when you try too hard.
Yeah.
You end up not being cool.
Oh,
Yeah. No kidding.
sorry. You don't drink it like this?
Right.
I have this
man.
stuff with my cereal and
we had a lot
bananas.
to learn in the Mad Jack days about moderation. Let me put it that way. We were young, and we were in a Southern rock band, and enough things were going our way that we just felt like let's let it rip. Let's burn the candle at both ends, and we
Right.
did for a long time.
That's funny.
Well, it was
I've been sober for 27 years now.
Well, that
Good
started
for you, man.
This is a long time ago. So I did have a second act.
It was the 80s, Lou.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff was happening in the 80s.
Ain't no lie.
We were following suit to those of our predecessors in the 60s and 70s. So,
Well, that's an interesting thing too, because I think there's a mythology about if you're an artist, you got to be abusing some kind of substance.
Right.
right.
We grew up with that. If you think about,
Sure.
all your heroes when you were young, they were all wasted. And so you felt like, oh, geez, well, nobody's going to take me seriously if I don't, so
Right.
alcohol was my drug of choice. But over the years, I found that that's not true. There's, being an artist is one thing and abusing things is something else entirely. And you can separate them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I started looking at people that were in recovery,
Mhm.
like Greg Allman,
Yeah.
like Bonnie Raitt. And
Yep.
I thought, I think that's cool. I think I want to go down that road. So I did.
Good for you.
Could someone tell any of the members of the Rolling Stones that, please?
I think Keith's pretty straight. I do.
Well, yeah, now.
I think he doesn't, wear that on his sleeve because he's got an image.
Right.
But I think for those guys to be throwing down that hard at 80 years old,
Yeah.
they're taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
You have to.
They are in some kind of shape, man.
Yep.
Well, for years he was doing transfusions of, like
Yeah.
vampire blood or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Who knows?
if you try to keep up with Keith, you end up like Graham Parsons.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Really. I mean,
Yeah.
it would be a terrible mistake to try to.
All right. Well, I'm gonna throw both of you a curve.
Okay.
Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
He'll never stop.
Love him.
He'll never stop, and he puts people to shame.
Yeah.
And
90.
and he's still
Yeah.
smoking and drinking as much as he.
As much as he wants.
God bless him. And
He's sharp as a
preserved.
tack.
oh, he is.
And he's
He is.
preserved.
He's smoked like a piece of jerky. It's perfect.
Yeah. This is great.
But he's still playing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I dare someone to say something negative about the guy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what you're going to see next? He's going to get together with, a bunch of his, high profile musician buddies,
Mhm.
and he's going to put on a benefit show and help those folks in Hawaii. You watch.
Oh, you know
I
what?
can definitely see that.
I can see it.
happening. Oh God, yeah.
That's who he is. You know
Yes.
what I mean? He sees somebody in need and he figures out a way to help.
It'll be the Willie Nelson Maui Wowie
Yeah.
fundraiser.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
Yep.
This bud's for you.
Yep. Yeah, this bud's for
Yeah.
you. And not the Budweiser, pal.
No, this big purple punch.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be Snoop
You're going
Dogg,
to smell it from Hawaii.
Snoop Dogg, Kid Rock, all the they're all gonna get up there. And, yeah,
Yeah, you're going to smell that from Hawaii
yeah.
in New
They're
York.
gonna be like, oh no, the smoke is coming. Oh no, never mind.
Everyone inhale deeply.
That's right.
It's from Willie.
Yeah. When all that smoke
love.
when all that smoke came from Canada, we all said, now this is what it looks like in Willie's backyard.
Yes.
Well,
God.
he's a genius, man. He's a genius songwriter,
Yes.
and he's got his own unique way of doing things. I've just loved him for my whole adult life.
That's awesome.
So, Lou, tell us what you're doing now.
Well, I have a new album out called Wicked Ways. It's an Americana album.
Okay.
So I'm playing acoustic guitar, harmonica, and singing. It's all original songs. My friend Mick Walker is playing electric guitar, bass, and percussion on it.
Cool.
It's on all the downloading platforms you can think of.
Okay.
I do have some CDs. If people want to contact me on Facebook, CDs are, for the old schoolers and boomers, I've got CDs. I also just released a single. It's a live recording of an original song called Thunder and Lightning.
Cool.
And that's, again, a download single. And Thunder and Lightning is not on Wicked Ways. It's on the studio version of it is on Ride or Die from last year's.
Okay.
And I'm about 5 songs deep into my next album. So I'm always writing.
Good deal.
I'm always looking forward. I'm always, trying to get better at what I do. And I'm playing.
And where can people see you play?
Next.
I'm kind of semi-retired from live performances.
Oh, okay.
I've decided, if something cool comes along, I'll go do it, like open for a national act kind of thing.
Yeah. I
just played with the Rods, as a matter of fact, a month or two ago down in Cortland.
Garrett, we're gonna have Carl. Carl's gonna be on the show.
Is an unlikely pairing, okay? But they invited me. I played with them at Sharky's last summer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I've known these guys since the 70s. We're old friends. Paul Kennedy and Dave Feinstein, and I'm also friends with Freddie Villano, the new bass player.
Right.
Okay.
But when they called
8 foot tall guy,
why don't you come and open? And I said, I'm playing like solo acoustic Americana, right? Oh yeah, it's perfect.
Oh,
okay.
All right.
So I came out there, and their audience was so warm and receptive.
Yep.
It was just awesome because these are metal fans,
Yeah.
But they were great to me, and I think my stuff is just a little edgy, outlawish in its own way that they could get into it without it being maybe their top genre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I've done a couple of shows at the Rods recently.
Well, it's funny because I talked to Carl a couple of weeks ago when they were playing at Sharky's, and we're going to have Carl on the show.
Great.
And then afterwards, we're talking to Ross Friedman, who started the punk rock band before punk rock was even punk rock, the Dictators. And then we start talking about his his movement over to heavy metal from punk, and he formed Manowar. And when they were doing the demo recordings, Carl was the drummer on all of Manowar's demo cuts, and he was asked, "Do you want to be the drummer for Manowar?"
Correct.
And he said, "Nah, I'm happy with the Rods."
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
stay with him
to this day.
Yeah.
So God bless him for holding true. I am going to get him. I'm going to say, "Did you ever want to kick yourself when you saw the huge following that Manowar had in Europe and stuff?" And he'll probably say no, because they still do very well, and they're still doing their touring and stuff. So that's pretty cool. But it's nice to know that you've held in high regard for them to ask you to play. So
yeah, well, I used to open for them. God, back in the 70s.
So
in my old bands.
So if a
couple forever.
So if
I know all the Elf guys.
There you go.
Oh, all right.
Well, let's look at everything that came out of Cortland.
Yeah.
Roddy James Dio.
Well, I'm from
Elf.
Portland originally.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
We all knew the guys from Elf, and they were friends and mentors to everybody. They never had a chip on their shoulder, never looked down at anybody. They would do anything to help you, all of those guys. And these guys were, the absolute best musicians in my view, rock and roll musicians to come out of this state. To this day. What a band.
Well, Ronnie couldn't look down anyway. He was too short.
He's looking down now.
Well, he is now, but...
You know what he said? You're a dick, Jeff.
That's what God said.
But you know what? I'm going to tell you something about Ronnie Dio.
Okay.
Because he started out singing torch songs. Mm-hmm. Like he would sing, I left my heart in San Francisco, stuff like that.
Right.
And then, the Electric Elves and Elf is sort of, it kind of evolved into almost a Southern rock band.
Really?
And then he goes to Rainbow and he's a metal guy.
Yep.
And then he joins Black Sabbath and takes Ozzy Osbourne's, how many people could sing all those genres and do it that well?
Nobody that I know of. So you saw his documentary, then I take it?
I did.
Yes, I did as well. That's very well done.
Yeah.
Very well done.
I was disappointed that they didn't mention some of the Elf guys by name. I thought that was a mistake.
Yeah. It's funny because I've always put the versatility aspect on Ronnie's voice is the same as Joey Belladonna's.
Yeah.
And Joey was very good friends with Ronnie.
Yes.
And Joey's asked to go out and perform at any Ronnie remembrance or tribute or any of that. And so kind of the same thing, a guy that can sing any genre that, he could sing the phone book and you tell him sing it country or sing it rock,
Yeah, and he will.
And so that's how Ronnie was as well. Just so versatile and, would have loved to have been able to say, I knew him. No, I didn't.
No.
He was a god way before before I started knowing who he was, But that's cool. That's awesome that you know all those guys too.
Yes.
So.
For us guys, in the Cortland, Ithaca area, they kind of validated what we wanted to do and said it's possible,
You don't hear that story much more anymore, Lou.
No.
You don't hear about local phenoms that go on.
No.
So.
Well, it's a completely different animal now.
Yeah.
Music, live music, the music industry, the record industry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't even resemble what we recognized as that in our youth.
Yeah.
Right.
So what are you going to do? For me, I said, well, okay, what is music to me? It's medicine.
Yes.
It's there to make you feel good. It's there to bring people together. It's there to express yourself.
Yes.
Or make you dance. And is it about money? Is it about success? Is it about getting? We were all chasing record deals back in the day. Are you going to sell your soul for?
People are selling their soul for 90 seconds worth of fame right now.
Yes.
And the social media.
Answer that question for themselves,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote that music is medicine down, and I'm going to hang that on the wall.
Hang that up.
I am. I'm going to hang that on the wall right above that.
I think right above there.
Yep. Because that's a great saying.
It is.
And so
it might be the best medicine,
Yeah.
You're right.
The most powerful.
So whether you made that saying up from now on, let it be known that came from Lou.
That's right.
Yeah. Not
It's
Lou
just
Reed.
how I think about it.
Not Lou Graham.
No.
Lou Kaplan.
Lou Kaplan.
The real Lou.
The real Lou.
So yeah, we're putting that down.
Yeah.
Brother, I got to tell you, we could have you on 10 more times, and I'm sure we won't. We haven't even touched the surface of some of the great things and fun stuff you've done.
Yeah.
So start thinking of the next time, and anytime you have anything coming out, anytime you have anything going on.
Exactly.
I want to hear from you. I want to hear about it. I think one of the funniest things I've seen is that I asked you to be on the show, and next thing I know, and I don't think you even realized I was following you all along, and you wrote, it's been a great week. Some dude some guy just asked me to be on his podcast. Don't know what caused that or something like that. And I was like, this guy doesn't even know how much we appreciate what he does, So
Exactly.
But then I said, "Hey, I'm that guy." You know,
Right.
I wanted to
It's me.
It's like that's me. We can't
Well,
wait.
I knew it was you, Mike, but I hadn't seen you since Pennellville. I mean, this is like going back 8-9 years
I
since
know.
I've even seen you.
I
right?
know. Well, like I said, you're highly regarded, and it's so appreciated that you've been on.
Yes.
And who knows, maybe sometime we may call you and say, we've got an event and we want you to come up and play
Yes.
a couple songs.
Yes.
'Cause Jeff
Oh,
and
that'd
I
be
are
great.
Jeff and I are actually in the works of doing something right now, and I can't say what or anything, but it's a pretty big venue and it's a pretty big show.
I want to do a Southern Rock tribute, so let's do it.
Well, that could be part of it, but we're trying to get a lot of the musicians that we've had on the show
Yeah.
to be part of this show. So you know, the first thing I yelled out, he goes, "Well, who'd play bass?" I'm like, "I know exactly who'd play bass." We get Lou to play bass. So
I'm in.
yeah. So some blues, some Southern rock,
Yeah.
some. I think see a couple seats flying in from Vegas. I see a couple seats flying in from all over. So, you know exactly where I'm going.
I
with
do.
This. So yeah. So if you're curious, look at some past episodes and look at some of the people that have been on and say, what are these two idiots cooking up?
What are they brewing?
Yeah, what's brewing in the good, the bad, and the
Yeah,
ugly, devilish little minds.
Yep.
So, but yeah, we love anything you do, and let us know. I'm
Yes.
going to put links up to the album, Ride or Die. I'm going to put links up to the song there.
Oh, Deeper Shade of Blue.
Deeper Shade of Blue. I want to put that up there, just for Keith and,
Yes.
and for yourselves. But
Yep.
but yeah, can't wait to hear everything that you got going on when it comes out. You know, so
Well,
bring
thank you both very much.
bring it to our
Oh
attention.
man, no problem
Sorry,
whatsoever.
sorry for the technical stuff in the beginning.
That's all right.
It's all good.
We are going to find the
worst picture of
worst picture of you.
And we
through
were
It
your-
shouldn't be too
And
tough.
don't block us on Facebook until
Right.
we get the photo. But we're gonna find, it's gonna be one with like a hot dog hat on or
Yeah.
something,
There
and
you
then
go.
that's the one we're gonna put.
Yeah,
we're like,
that's
see,
it.
there you go.
See this guy here? He was on our show
That's right.
wearing a hot dog hat.
We knew him when his hair was
He
dark.
jerked us around for 20 minutes.
When he had dark colored hair, we had him on it.
Right.
So thank you so much for being
Well,
on the
thank
show.
you very much.
And
Well, you guys take care.
you too, my
We'll-
friend.
We'll talk again, okay?
Yes.
Looking forward to
Looking
it, ladies
forward
and
to it.
gentlemen. Lou Kaplan, and I can say from just a handful of
Yeah.
great bands.
Yes.
So thanks again, Lou.
Thank you.
All right, man. Talk to you soon.
Take care, Lou.
All right. Bye. Those three beeps are synonymous with this guy left.
Right. This guy's gone.
Dude, I wish the
know.
video was there, but
I know.
But I know those of you that are, I hope, watching this, you see his pictures right over here on screen. It's been here the whole time.
Yeah.
Somewhere around
Somewhere in there.
here. Yeah.
Somewhere here.
I can't say enough. What a great guy,
Yeah.
and he was always gracious when he played at the bar. Just a great guy and a true inspiration of how to be in music.
Yes.
So if you're sitting at home and you're playing the drums or you're playing guitar and you're learning all this stuff for the first time and you aspire to go and play out and everything, take a lesson from somebody like Lou.
Yeah. For sure.
I mean, I
On
know
how to act, how to be.
Yeah.
I
know there's a couple people that listen to the show that are just practicing every day and doing stuff.
Yep.
Hope Pepitone there.
Yeah.
She's aspiring drummer. She posts all the time how hard she practices. That's the guy, that kind of guy you want to be.
Yep.
Guys like Kevin Dean, guys like this guy here. I mean, true, just respectful.
Yeah.
He's a gentleman, you
Yes.
know? I mean,
He is like the
he's the
epitome
Mike
of-
DiUlio. No, he's the
Well, it's
opposite,
not
complete
crazy with
opposite,
that,
opposite
but
Papa, the
he-
anti-Papa.
Yeah. I would honestly have to say he is, without living in the South, he is a true Southern gentleman.
Yeah,
Honestly.
yeah. He's the anti-Papa.
You see?
You know what? He just kept me.
anti-pasta.
No, don't get me. I'm hungry already.
Oh, sorry.
He kept me from saying fuck almost the whole show. I just had
And
to say
even
it then.
if you listen,
He
when you
he's
listen
like,
back,
what the
to
F
that,
is that? I'm like, come
and
on,
it's
say
like-
the word, damn it.
I know.
Damn that.
I was really surprised.
It's like being around the Pope. You don't want to swear. You're around someone that's
Right.
that nice and that good. It's like, oh, God, I wish I could be a better version of myself.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Take
No,
a
I
look
know.
at Lou, and you can be a better version.
That's right.
And just remember, he may not have coined the phrase, but he did tonight. Music is medicine.
Yep. I think we need to get that put on the back of our shirts.
It's a wonderful idea. I like it.
So take a dose
Take a dose.
of me. I don't know.
No.
Anyways, I think that's about it.
That's
Coming up September 22nd at Sharky's.
Yep.
I'm going to say it until
I know you are.
the 21st of September.
Yeah.
Femmes of Rock,
Yes.
September 22nd.
Yep.
Possibly without a guest.
Right.
But that is a show you have to see, 6 p.m. September 22nd. Tickets are on sale right now.
Yep.
You got to go see the show.
Yeah, this is
It's phenomenal.
heavy metal on violins.
Heavy metal on violins
Honestly.
with great musicians
Yes.
and just nice, down-to-earth people.
Yep.
They deserve it. October 6th,
Yeah.
Ben Morrow comes back to Sharky's.
Yep. Ben Morrow.
2 special guests. Not
Coming
saying
at
what
ya.
song.
No,
We don't know yet.
because we don't even know.
I don't think it's going to be whatever by Godsmack or anything.
Right?
But I got a funny feeling it's going to be a great show.
Yeah.
And another total frickin' gentleman.
Yes.
Coming up tomorrow on the show, we have the
Mike
one and only
Ferrara.
Mike Ferrara.
Rawr.
Chilling! Chilling with
Negative.
Mike Ferrara.
Ah, yes.
Mike Ferrara, the People's Choice.
The People's Choice.
People's Show.
And then Wednesday.
Go ahead.
Believe it or not, you're getting 3.
3 this week. You're getting 4 episodes,
We're getting 4,
really.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Because
Who's the third? I want to see. I can't wait.
Peter Marzulli.
you were stretching.
I want to.
You're like, holy shit! I hope I remember.
I know.
So Peter Marzulli, for those who don't
Yeah.
know Peter has been a touring manager for some great people.
And you're going to hear some stories.
You're going to hear some stories. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you who he managed, what he did,
a lot.
which is a lot, but we're going to try to
What he's
cram.
still doing. He's
Yeah.
still doing. And thanks to him, we have people like, Mike Sterto from the Guess Who that'll
Yep.
be on the show. But yeah, Peter's going to be a great interview. It won't air Wednesday though.
No,
it's
it will
going to
not.
air in a couple weeks.
When
Jeff is on vacation. But
So,
and then
and don't
Thursday,
forget, Thursday,
This
August
Thursday.
17th, this
August
Thursday, the debut of Ryder. Yep.
and it's called
Ryder.
Not Too Big for Flannel Show. It is going to be what?
Here we go.
Not Too Big for Flannel Ryder.
DR, I was not a part of that.
Choked out by
I love you, pal.
Artemis Pyle.
Yeah, right?
That's the best picture in the whole world.
I know.
Artemis Pyle choking out Ryder.
Choking out Ryder.
It was awesome.
Yep.
All right, let's get to the
Let's get him.
to the exit here. We want to thank our special sponsors, a.k.a. the AUK Medical Supply Company.
Sharky's Event Center.
DJ Life's a son of a beach. Good Nature Brewery. Don't forget Uncle Jimmy's live music.
We have the Print Shop Underground.
You going to say the next one?
Snarky Productions.
Snarky, that's
and
yours. Toffee Break Toffee. The only toffee that won't stick in your teeth. We're going to say goodbye now so that we have the fade out music for our credits. Thanks again, Lou Kaplan. We appreciate you, my
Yes.
brother. We appreciate all you.
Everyone.
Peace.
Peace.